Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the June 6, 2012 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. We'll open by taking attendance, which should be quick. Mr. Urice is not here. Mr. Keller is not here. Ms. Hofstetter is not here. Mr. Sermonero.
Here.
Ms. Ferguson. Here. Chairman Finaldi is here. Ms. Ferguson, would you sit in for Mr. Urice this evening? Yes. Very much. Oh, Ms. Hofstetter. Thank you so much. The record shows that Ms. Hofstetter has arrived. For the record, Commission members, our next meeting will be June 20, 2012. Hopefully you did receive via email from Joanne minutes of our meetings from March 7th and March 21st. If Commission members, if you've had an opportunity to review those minutes and there are no comments or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make motion.
Motion made by Mr. Sermonero, seconded by Ms. Hofstetter. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The minutes are accepted. Just a couple of minor changes on the agenda. After the public hearing, but before our old business agenda, we are going to move the referral into that slot, the ZBA referral, Triangle Street Associates. We're going to rearrange things just a little bit there. And also, we're going to, there are items 3 and 4 under our new business agenda. They're both the City of Danbury floodplain permits, Woodland Road and New Street. We're going to move those items to our old business agenda as items 3 and 4. Did I get that right, Jennifer?
Yes, and one addition, we had a floodplain permit for Stu Leonard's that was accidentally left off the agenda. That was received at the same time the grant of special exception was submitted. So that should be noted as well.
New business or?
For reference only, the floodplain permit associated with Stu Leonard's.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will move right to our first public hearing this evening, 7:30 p.m. STLJ LLC, application for new special exception or high site plan approval for 1 bank with drive-through use and 2 used bank generating over 500 vehicle trips per day in the CG20 zone, both to be incorporated into existing special exception number 376, Stu Leonard's, previously approved as a high traffic generator, 99 Federal Road, L08031, special exception 376. Ms. Hofstetter, would you read the legal notice, please?
Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission of the City of Danbury will hold a public hearing commencing at 7:30 p.m. on June 6, 2012 in the City Council Chambers at City Hall, 155 Deer Hill Avenue, to consider the following matter. STLJ LLC, application for a new special exception site plan approval for 1, bank with drive-through use, and 2, use the bank, generating over 500 vehicles trips per day in the CG20 zone, both to be incorporated into the existing special exception number 376, Stu Leonard's, previously approved as high traffic generator, 99 Federal Road, lot number L08031, SE 376. Parties in interest and citizens shall have the opportunity to be heard at this time. Signed, Arnold Finaldi, Junior Chairman.
Thank you, Helen. Commission members, hopefully you have received several documents on this matter from staff. We have a staff report dated May 31, 2012, a traffic study from Malone and McBroom dated May 9, 2012, and some comments from our own traffic engineer. I'm not sure the date on those. Looks like an email string. think that was the extent of what was distributed.
Yes.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application? Attorney Mizuko?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Ward Mizuko. I'm a lawyer here in Danbury, and I'm here on behalf of STLJ LLC, which is the property owner where the Stu Leonard store is located on Federal Road. As you know, it's a 40-acre parcel, CG20 property. It currently contains the dairy store and a pharmacy, and the proposal before you this evening is to incorporate a bank between those two structures. We're seeking a new special exception for a drive-through as required by the regulations. And I think the staff report confirms that the drive-through appears to be configured in accordance with the design criteria of the regulations. And the property already holds a high-traffic generation permit, and we're seeking an amendment for that to account for the additional traffic to be generated by the bank. Of course, the bank will be generating 500 trips per day. It's just the property already generates that. And along with this is an amendment to the site plan and a floodplain permit, as Jennifer indicated. I believe the only comments that we're waiting for from city officials are from the engineering department. And I believe that those will probably be available in time for us to incorporate them and to address all the comments from city officials, including engineering, and to present what we hope is a final plan in time for your next meeting. Nevertheless, we should address some of the staff comments that have been raised so far so that you can be assured that we're working to address them. And with me tonight are Jim Rotundo, a civil engineer, and Henry Dittman, a traffic engineer, who prepared the traffic report that we have. I'll leave you with copies of their professional backgrounds in case you are curious. But at this point, unless there's a question from the commission, I'd like to turn things over to Jim Rotundo, who can take you through the details of how this bank will be set into the site. All right?
Questions for Attorney Mizuko? Please.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll mark this as Exhibit A.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Jim Rotundo. I'm a licensed professional engineer and principal of Rotundo Engineering LLC with offices located in Shelton. Okay if I'm over here for the recording? Just talk about? Okay. The application under this proposal is for a 4,355 square foot bank building with a drive-through. The building meets all the standards of the CG20 zone with regard to setback, building height, and coverage requirements. The building is located, this is the existing Walgreens store. It's located just to the south of the Walgreens, in between the Walgreens and the existing Stu Leonard's Garden Center. The drive-through is located just to the south of the proposed bank building. It will be entered from the site driveway, which is located to the west of the building or the front of the bank, and exited through the rear and circulate around through the Walgreens, or behind the Walgreens store. The drive-through contains 2 lanes. Each of them are 12 feet in width, and there's a queue length of 130 feet provided. Several modifications are being proposed to the site driveway in the front of the bank and along the garden center. Currently, in the front of the garden center, there's a double-loaded parking area. We are going to reconfigure that. What we're doing here is we're removing the parking spaces that are adjacent to the driveway. We're installing a landscaped island with a pedestrian walkthrough, and also reconfiguring the remaining parking area, the remaining parking spaces. The driveway along the front of the bank is being widened to 35 feet. That consists of a 20-foot ingress lane and a 15-foot egress lane. The 20-foot ingress lane will provide a bypass opportunity. Vehicles coming in, if they should have to slow for oncoming traffic to get into the drive-through, the 20-foot width will allow for a vehicle to bypass there. We're also widening the driveway in front of the bank that gets into the parking area. Currently, that's about 20 feet in width. We're going to modify to the landscape islands here, and we're increasing that from 20 feet to 28 feet. That will help for vehicles to move more efficiently within that parking area. We do meet the site requirements for parking based on the existing uses and the proposed bank use. 582 spaces are required. We're providing 595 spaces. 12 handicap accessible spaces are also required on the site. We are providing 19. That includes a handicap accessible space in front of the bank, which will be van accessible. A new sidewalk is proposed along the front of the bank. This will be provided with pedestrian ramps on either side. There's an existing pedestrian ramp located on the southwest corner of the Walgreens, so that will provide continuity through that area. Under our proposal, we are proposing a painted pedestrian way from the bank over to the existing Stu Leonard's. We did receive staff comments. Based on the staff comments, we are looking at some alternatives to better define that area. That's something that we'll discuss with staff further. We did receive the comments from the various departments. I don't want to go through each one point by point, but essentially we've addressed them. I haven't submitted a revised set of plans yet. I'm waiting for the engineering comments. But the one outstanding issue is just going to be based on our discussions with staff on this sidewalk treatment. With that, I'd like to introduce... Yes, sir.
Couple of questions. Where the bank is proposed to be built, that currently is sort of a parking area between the Walgreens and the garden center.
That's correct.
And a lot of the people that park there, I think that's where the primary parking is for folks that want to get their propane gas tanks filled, because the fill station's right there, correct?
The fill station's actually behind.
Right, so, but in other words, if you want to get your tank filled, you know, they're heavy, I would imagine people want to park as close to that as they possibly can. And they just, hold on a second, and so they park there. So I was, my question was, if you eliminate that parking, where would you anticipate or want people to park that have their propane tanks filled?
Well, the vehicles would circulate to the rear of the building. There are spaces behind here for vehicles to park. So it would just be the loading area for that activity.
Okay, with somebody coming in the entrance, not, just forget my sense of direction, the entrance closer to Brookfield, the other
To the
one.
north.
So they come in there and they want to get to, where would they go?
They would either, they'd be parking out in the front to get assistance from the Stu Leonard's people, or they could circulate around the back of the
All around the building?
That's correct.
All right. The drive-through, the two-lane drive-through, do you anticipate people taking a right and a left there, or just a left?
The circulation, as marked on the site, is one way. We are proposing, or we are going to provide a, well, we have painted arrows in the driveway for left turn only. We're also going to sign this no right turn.
Okay. Is that behind the building clear and appropriate for significant traffic? Because, I mean, I don't know if you should be happy or sad. A lot of us live very close to the store and are there all the time. So I never thought of that back passway. I thought it was like more of an emergency access way rather than something where you anticipate a significant amount of traffic to go through.
I don't know if we receive a significant amount of traffic, if that's the only use there, but that driveway is maintained as open.
Okay. So this new building, you wouldn't anticipate would bring a lot more people behind the building than you.
The proposed, the bank building?
Yeah.
No, the parking for the bank we anticipate, well, patrons being out front, as well as the drive-through, so they circulate through and come out. So we with this, we wouldn't be introducing people to the back of the existing Stu Leonard's.
I mean, obviously that front of the building is a very busy area, and people like to scoot around the back of the building and try to avoid that. Question, Helen?
Mr. Chairman, yes. So we also have a bank pass-through.
Correct, the drive-through.
Not,
Or-
sorry,
or
not
for the
bank,
Walgreens.
sorry, Florence and Pharmacy.
Yes.
So what happens when, they get to the end of that? What do you have going on in terms of signage or?
There's stop signs and stop bars being proposed with the bank.
Yeah,
I believe, and I can confirm that, there's a stop sign here at the Walgreens drive-through. But we do have clear sight lines through here, so vehicles will be able to identify vehicles coming along the driveway before making that left turn.
okay. And you said you were widening the lane that goes south. Is that also widened back further in front of the pharmacy, or is there some kind of anomaly that goes on right where the drive-through is?
Well, right now, the lane that runs in front of the Walgreens is about 30 feet wide. We're increasing that width to the 35 feet as we get past the landscaped island, past the drive-through into the Walgreens.
Okay.
The Walgreens, as part of their lease, has a no-build area, so we can't do any improvements in front of their area without getting approval from them.
Okay.
So this is all being maintained in front of the bank.
And then finally, you have the area that was mentioned about there used to be parking there. So that's all gone.
That was seasonal parking. People do use it. Under the current approval, the special exception approval, it's seasonal parking.
So there will still be parking right there?
Oh, no, this bank is located right in where that parking area is.
Okay, does the fence of the garden center move at all?
Yes, it does. The current fence, the garden center actually decreases in size. The fence of the garden center right now is approximately along the southerly edge of the existing building. So it's going to be moved to the south, about probably 27 to 30 feet.
All right, thank you.
And you also mentioned you're widening the area between the islands, so when you take the right turn, you go in front of Walgreens, you turn right. That's actually a positive because it's a tight squeeze there.
Yes, it is.
Jennifer?
I have one quick question. Looking at that site rendering and knowing the site plan as I do, the rear parking area where the propane filling station is different than what you're showing on the site plan.
Now there's spaces along here, which are shown, and then there's spaces here, and this is all curved.
Okay.
It,
I'm sorry. It looks different.
At the end, right about where the drive-through comes through, there's a landscaped island which ties into this existing parking area. So with that being removed, that may be throwing that off a little bit.
I'll double check. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Rotundo? Okay, please. Mike.
The garden center, can you just show me where about it would begin compared to where it is now?
Yes, as I mentioned, right now it's currently approximately along the southerly building line of the proposed bank. And on the southerly side of the drive-through, we're putting in a landscaped island with a new fence there. So that's where the garden center would essentially begin.
So it'd be right up against.
It would be, as I said, there's a landscaped island, so you'd have a curb and then it would start. So it wouldn't be right up against the fence, you'd be a couple feet back where the garden center would start.
And that's a sidewalk along the front of where the garden center is?
Yes, this is right, as we have in our proposal right now, we have a painted pedestrian way on grade, just for the operations of what goes on here. There was staff comments based on looking at putting a sidewalk in there. So we're doing a study on that right now to look at some alternative treatments that we could discuss with staff and satisfy that comment.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea because, if you put plants or whatever else is there, people can't walk there. And it's a very busy, as you well know, it's a very, very busy area of the parking lot. Mr. Senator? No. Any other questions for Mr. Rotundo?
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Ken Udinian. I'm a traffic engineer with the firm Milo & Group. We have offices in Cheshire, Connecticut. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state and several others. At the start of our study, we put together a profile of existing conditions. That included a detailed field reconnaissance of the area, traffic data assembly, and we also initiated a traffic counting program at 3 nearby intersections along Federal Road. We counted the north driveway to Stu Leonard's, Nabby Road with Stu Leonard's driveway opposite, and then we counted the Home Depot driveway. So those are the 3 study intersections for our bank proposal. We then estimated future traffic that we expect the bank to generate based on industry standards. The Institute of Transportation Engineers publishes statistical data on relative to banks, and we looked at 3 count periods. The first is weekday midday peak hour. Then we looked at the weekday afternoon peak hour, and we looked then at Saturday midday peak hour. The weekday afternoon peak hour and the Saturday midday peak hour are typical count and analysis periods for retail areas, and specifically retail areas similar to Federal Road where Stu Leonard's is located. We did not count the weekday morning peak hour in this particular case because retail is typically closed before 9 o'clock, and your commuter peak hour typically runs from 7 to 9 a.m. There will obviously, I think, be some ATM usage. I'm sure the bank hopes that to be the case, but that traffic volume is substantially less than what would be experienced during the midday and afternoon peak hours when the bank is fully operational and open. We then took the, I skipped over the amount of traffic that would be generated during those 3 peak study periods. The new traffic that would be generated by the bank would be about 90 to 95 vehicle trips. That be split almost evenly, 50% in, 50% out during those peak hours. We took the new site traffic, added it to the existing traffic that we counted, and we used these volumes during our analyses periods. We conducted capacity analyses, pre-build and post-build, and the analyses indicating the level of service, and the level of service was a good level of service C or better during all study periods. Levels of service is similar to school grades, A through F, A being the best, F being the worst, and level of service C or better, A, B, C, is actually good. And we determined that through the analyses that the existing levels of service are going to be C or better, and with the addition of the new site traffic, the levels of service are maintained at level of service C or better. Internally, you heard Mr. Rotundo explain the configuration of the driveway in front of the bank and the ability to allow traffic to move smoothly in and out of the drive-through area. And if there is a vehicle or two that is stopped to make a left turn into the drive-through, that there is the ability for cars to bypass, to go around, or actually to make the right turn through the islands and use another aisle to get to their shopping to Stu Leonard's. So, in conclusion, the addition of the bank traffic will, in our opinion, not adversely affect the traffic flows along Federal Road. So, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions for Mr. Dittman at this time? Committee members, anything? Thank you. I'll set with now, thanks.
Mr. Chairman, since we're still working on the final plans, it would probably behoove us to terminate our presentation early this evening. But with us tonight is Doug Hempstead, the real estate manager for Stu Leonard's, and he made two observations to me in response to what he heard so far. One is that with respect to the propane tank area, he said most customers actually tend to use carts to bring their tanks back and forth rather than carrying them. So the distance parking from propane areas is not as much of a concern. His viewpoint. The second thing he mentioned is that he's glad that you all shops too much.
Be happy with that. Can I ask one other question, either Mr. Rotundo, whoever? Where are the ATMs going to be, proposed location of the ATMs for the bank?
Yes, they're to the, on the westerly end of the drive-through, the box here, the shaded box here.
Okay.
That's the canopy over the ATMs.
So those are drive-through ATMs?
That's correct.
Okay, so they're any-
They're not each, there's a teller, a remote teller, and an ATM.
Oh, okay. Sort of an interesting phenomenon. Some banks are opening accounts where they charge you extra to go inside, and you have to,
There's no remote teller. There's no remote
Chase.
teller.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there are two ATMs, I'm sorry.
Oh, we have Representative Chase Bank here?
Yes.
Oh, good. You know, it's just, not sure this is a land use question, but I know that a lot of banks are opening accounts where they charge you extra actually to go in and talk to a teller. They're trying to push everybody to do everything automated at an ATM. So what you see for Bank of America in front of Kohl's, I don't think I've ever driven by there without 4 or 5 people standing around the ATM because they have to use that. If they don't, they're charged extra to walk into the bank. So what's happening is ATMs are going to need extra room for people to stand around if your bank is sort of going in that direction. Any comment on that? Any thoughts on that?
Well, we actually,
You have to, unfortunately, to answer my question, you have to state your name and affiliation.
Hi, my name is Rob Span, I'm with JP Morgan Chase, work in the real estate division. Generally, the way our bank prefers is we want the people to walk into the branch. Gives us the opportunity to cross-sell additional products, loans, investment products, et cetera, like that. The proposal on this one here is on the drive-ups, we have ATMs on both of those islands, in addition to the VA tube, the vacuum air tubes there, so they can do teller transactions also. In addition to that, we also have an ATM in the lobby of the branch also. And then I know the floor plans were submitted with the package there. We've got new technologies, well, self-service tellers too, that do a lot of the same operations that an ATM does, and then some, is the way we're going for the banking today.
Okay, that's, I'm glad to hear there'll be an ATM in the lobby so you can stand in there and not get
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Seminara?
The tellers, the automatic tellers there,
Yes.
are they pushed back to create more of a queuing, for more space for queuing up traffic?
The location of it,
Yeah.
yes.
Anything else? Thank you very much for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. If it's all right with the commission, we just assume pick up in 2
Okay.
weeks if that's.
Sure. Thank you, Attorney Mizuko. As Attorney Mizuko indicated, we're going to have to keep the public hearing open. I haven't called the opposition yet. But thanks very much. Is there anyone else? Yes?
Sir, we're also waiting for EIC to conduct their public hearing as well and render their decision.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else in favor? Yes.
Joel sent a question for him.
Did you ask him? Got it?
Yes.
Anyone else? Does anyone wish to speak in favor of this application? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Lynn?
My name is Lynn Waller, 83 Highland Avenue in Danbury. I'm not really in opposition to the bank. I'm in opposition to some of the parking that we have talked about, you all have talked about. part of what bothers me is the parking in the rear of the bank. Inevitably, there are trucks back there, so the cars can't get back in that area that are bringing, loading, or unloading merchandise for Stu's. And although it sounds wonderful to say you can go back there, you usually can't. I'd like to keep an eye on that back lot and make sure that there's nothing in there. So I try to get through there occasionally, and you just can't because of the truck. So it may be something to think about. I do not think one handicap spot in front of the bank is enough. They may say there are 19 sites. Some are down in front of the grocery store. Some are right smack in front of Stu's door to let you go in. But it's a long walk if you have a handicap problem, which I do, and I have trouble getting any distance. As for the propane, the first time we used it to try to fill up this year, my husband had to walk all the way down, and he's on a cane as well, to get a cart, to put his tank in, to bring it back. And it was Easter weekend, so that they were tremendously filled with people. But he finally got it in, got the tank in, took it in to have it filled, and the tank was outdated. I don't know if you all know, but they run out every 10 years. So he didn't get any propane after all of that. It took us over 40 minutes, and we came away empty. So we went up the street and changed tanks. That was no problem. I'm concerned about the merchandise for Stu's as it sits in this area now. Where are they planning to put that? How many parking places are they planning to take up when the bank takes up where they now pile everything that they have outside? I know we were there Easter weekend. It was very difficult to find a parking place. We were almost out by the animal section that they had no animals. It was too early in the year, but we had to park there to even try to get into the door at Stu's or to get to the propane aisle or anything like that. And you're taking away parking places and putting in a building, which concerns me. And personally, having carried a flag to fight putting anything in the wetlands, I want to be sure that no one in the city has given Stu's any hint that they can use the wetland area to park behind or to put merchandise in. The court has decided against that already, and I want to be sure that we don't just slop over into it because they don't have enough room up in the parking lot where they're supposed to be. So I don't mind the bank. You know, it's not bad to have, although there's several on that road. I'm not sure why we need another one. But thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Lynn. We'll certainly give the applicant a chance to respond.
Thank you.
If they choose to do so. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Anyone in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Unless there's anything else from the applicant, we'll entertain a motion to continue.
Motion.
Motion made and seconded to continue this public hearing until our next meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
We're going to move right to, as I mentioned at the outset of the meeting, we are going to go right to referrals here. So we're going to insert referrals in front of old business so that Sharon can do her thing, if you will. So hopefully, Commission members, you've all received the referral, ZBA referral for review and report per Section 11B4 of the zoning regulations, ZBA application 1222. Triangle Street Associates LLC as applicant for a use variance to Section 4B2 of the zoning regulations pursuant to Section 11B2B to allow a, quote, metal recycling and scrapyard, close quote, in the RMF4 zoning district. Zoning Board of Appeals public hearing in this matter is scheduled for Thursday, June 28, 2012. And Commission members, hopefully you did receive the report from staff dated May 31st, 2012. That's a report from we received from staff. Sharon, walk us through.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'm not going to read the whole report because that'll bore you over that. But I do have a copy of the map that was submitted with the variance application. Again, the referral to planning and to zoning goes to Planning Commission and the Zoning Commission from the ZBA for the use variance pursuant to Section 11B4A. And it is a use variance to Section 4B2, which is a list of permitted uses in the zoning regulations, pursuant to Section 11B2B, which is to, again, a use variance to allow a metal recycling and scrapyard in the RMF4 zone. So maybe I'll just show you a picture, that's kind of a 1,000 words, and then you can relate the terms of the report.
It's novellas, right, for?
It's novellas, yeah, Illinois. So these are, you're coming down, this is Triangle Street.
Way down the hill.
You're coming down the hill, right, Triangle Street. The residential parcel, as indicated in the memo, the staff report, we're talking, the application involves 3 parcels. There's the residential parcel, and I used that term and defined it in the report. And then what we've used the term as the junkyard parcels. Back in 1977, the ZBA issued a certificate, I think it was his own, oh no, the ZBA, I'm sorry, a certificate of approval of location for a motor vehicle junkyard for the junkyard parcels. So that use has been ongoing, was there a long time, many, many years. There were certain conditions, however, attached to that location approval. Number 1, it limited the number of cars to 315. It did not involve scrapping of metal. And the fence line, which I showed in pink, which is not the property line, everything had to be kind of on the junkyard side, not on the residential side. The residential parcel had been picked up after a number of years by the previous property owner, and so they are all owned by Triangle LLC, whatever.
The residential and the junkyard?
Yeah, they're all owned together.
Okay.
Originally, when it was Novello, it was under a separate ownership, and then they bought that other parcel.
Okay. So the same.
And their access across, partially, it's kind of a big, wide curb cut. But part of it is across what I've shown in purple, which is an easement from the railroad. So they go in that way, and then they go into the back. There is a house. The research has shown that that's lot J, 14268, that there's an existing structure, and it's a 2-family dwelling. So that basically kind of sets the stage and the location. Again, what the applicant has requested is a use variance pursuant to the regs. Again, on page 2 and a little bit about page 3, I've kind of given you some background because there is a long history of this site, and as well as some notices of violation and zoning enforcement issues that have been ongoing. And there have been some corrections to the site in accordance with the notices of violation. Regardless, it's important because part of what the applicant is claiming, which is under section 11B2B, to be able to use it as a metal recycling and scrapyard, is that use existed on those parcels. And one of the provisions in the zoning reg says if it's there in that zone and the same area has been used, you can get a variance to do it, continue to do it. So one of my comments, you'll see it says it's on section 3 and A of section 11B2B, provides that no commercial or industrial use may be permitted by variance in the RMF 10, 6 and 4, or the R3, except for properties with facilities previously used for commercial or industrial purposes, provided the variance meets the conditions specified above. Obviously, the specified above are your general conditions for issuance of the variance, hardship and not the standard things. These are the additional requirements. So our point was that the non-conforming motor vehicle junkyard is not currently permitted on the residential parcel, nor is it allowed on what direction of the north side? East of the pink line, which is still on the junkyard parcel, but on the residential side of the fence. So the application is to allow all 3 parcels to be used as the motor vehicle.
Scrap the metal scrap.
Yeah, the metal recycling and scrap yard. And our point was that all 3 parcels have not been used for that. So if that condition can't be met. Therefore, the applicant is requesting use by variance on a parcel not previously used for that. And then section 11B2B does not allow a use variance to be granted for use not presently permitted in any zone. I don't know if you recall, or not in 2007, I'm sorry, we went back and, again, it's in kind of the background. The zoning commission eliminated the use. There was a storage, handling, and the processing of scrap metal, waste paper, and junk only allowed in the IG-80 zone. In 2007, actually effective October 15, 2007, we amended the industrial district zoning regulations. In October, they went into effect. It eliminated that use from the IG-80 zone. At that time, that was the only zone in the city that that use was allowed in. So that use is not currently allowed anywhere in the city. And section 11B2D, again, those are restrictions on the issuance of a use variance. Says you cannot issue a use variance for a use not presently permitted in any zone in the city. So we understand it's a non-conforming use. They have non-conforming status. That doesn't go away. They have every legal right to continue that. But you can't be granted a use by variance for a use not allowed anywhere else in the city.
And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's basically
So
the line.
it's-
Yeah, I mean, those 2 points, and I've indicated on the plan of conservation and development, it shows that area is multifamily, for multifamily development. So really, that's the juxta of what our review is. We go back to the plan of conservation and development. There is a long history of what's been going on here. There are some particulars because the condition on the previous non-conforming use was that they stay behind the pink, what's shown as the pink line, which is the fence line, just so we're clear for the record. And the front parcel was never used as a junkyard. So zoning doesn't allow you to use it for a junkyard if it, that provision in zoning allowed you to continue to do it or get a use variance to continue to do it if it had been done in the first place, and it wasn't. The junkyard operation was behind the pink line, didn't include the residential parcel. And then we just added some other considerations, and it really doesn't affect you guys as much as really is a statement regarding, the ZBA acting as kind of a mini zoning commission. Like the zoning commission went through the process. We looked at this use. We looked at where it was allowed to be. That's their legislative function. It's not a function of the ZBA by use variance, to allow a use by use variance in this regard. So our conclusion that the request for the use variance raises several issues. It expands a non-conforming use into residential property that had not been previously used for industrial or commercial use. It sanctions a use that's not permitted anywhere else in the city of Danbury, and it does not comply with the plan of conservation and development.
So this is just another one of those things where it's always been used one way
And it
forever.
will continue to be used like
And
that.
fine, but the problem is that if we start, and again, this is only a referral, so the ZBA has to make the decision, but, when we rewrote the regs, like the IG-80, we tried to clean up, there's all kinds of, you have an IG-80 zone, which is a nasty zone, but then there's all kinds of things you can do and can't do, and we tried to streamline them and clean them up. If we start going in this direction again, it's sort of counter to the theory of having regs have some integrity to them, because obviously there was some thought given into the permitted uses in the IG-80, and this isn't one of them. It was eliminated for some reason. So
That's correct. And
so
again,
it's
they
sort
have
of
legal,
regs
they have the non-conforming use.
yeah.
Nobody's making them go away. They have a legal right to continue to do what they're doing.
Sure, I'll be honest, I haven't, until this started to come about and I started to hear about it, what was going on and everything, I never really knew that there was much of a difference between a scrapyard and a junkyard. So I think, so that's a real weird thing to me. I mean, a junk car, when somebody goes it, they really tell you they either term it that they're junking it or they're scrapping it. So I just assume scrapyard and junkyard are one and the same. I don't know what the difference really is in the fine line of who wrote the reg of what's a cleaners and what's a laundromat.
I can just tell you based on history, and I'm not the expert on that either, and Sean Harry's probably a better expert than me, but in 1977, the minutes from the approval for the location of the junkyard specifically said that you shouldn't be doing scrapping there.
And I sat in on the meeting with Sean and LaJoyce when they came in, and they said, we're not going to use it for scrapping, we're just going to use it to park the cars, and we're going to scrap them at the Norwalk facility.
I mean, again, I wasn't privy to it, but I did, I mean, I went back to Sean, he said to research the minutes were specific as the fence. They, you know, they delineated the fence, so. And scrapping has to do with weighing the material and selling the material versus, you know, stacking the cars. or
Yeah, they said
doing-
they understood.
So, there is a distinction.
Anything else? Sure, go ahead, Alan.
The house that's staying, I didn't see anything that they're going to demolish that house, right? There it
Well,
is.
No.
Right. And
Again, yeah.
But the other thing is, they did say they wanted to, if this were passed, they were going to, their intention was to demolish the shed and then build another or something.
Right.
Why,
Well,
why is that dependent upon?
for our purposes, it's really not. I mean, we're looking at it as compliance with the regs and the plan of conservation and development. We're not going to get into whether or not what it would allow them to do. They're saying, well, here's what our plan is. We're going to take down the shed, which wasn't indicated anywhere in here. So that's why I didn't really get into the development end of things. Regardless, we also have a regulation that says you can't expand from the conforming use. So, you know, that's a whole different discussion at some later time if we need to have it. Regardless, the only thing that exists there is this concrete brick building. There's a trailer and some metal containers. That is the only thing there. So, thank you.
Anything else for Sharon? This is a ZBA referral, so all we're doing is giving an opinion. But ZBA refers us to planning and zoning, so they get two different opinions.
Yeah.
What do they do?
It's an odd, quirky thing having to do with it being a request for a use variance.
Yeah.
Why does zoning? Well, if you kind of think about it, one step further, you go to the commission, that's the legislative commission, that's the zoning, so they want input from the zoning commission on somebody who wants a use that's not allowed in the zone. In this particular case, there's just some, there's other restrictions and it's tripped up in that. So that's why it goes.
Thanks, Sharon. Committee members, commission members, you've read the report, very nice report, by the way, Sharon, very thorough. The conclusion and the reasons shown by staff, why they feel it should get a negative recommendation from planning. Anyone have any further discussion or want to make a motion for either positive or negative referral?
I'll make a motion for a negative referral
I'll second.
based on the conclusions that we see in the staff report.
Motion has been made and seconded for a negative referral to the zoning board of appeals. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll try our minds. All in favor of a negative referral signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This matter with a negative referral, and now it's up to ZBA to decide what to do with it.
Thank you for moving this up.
Welcome, Sharon. Good evening. We're going to write to old business for consideration of possible action. Item 1, Joseph J. and Paula Mostacco, application for special exception to allow outdoor storage and construction equipment, Decker Family Rental in the CG20 zone, 108 Federal Road, special exception 725. Commission members, hopefully you have received a draft resolution of approval dated May 31st, 2012. Jen, you want to talk about your draft resolution?
Mr. Chairman, it's a fairly straightforward resolution. We had a condition in there under, prior to the issuance of zoning compliance, that the ZEO shall verify that the 6-foot-high view-restrictive fence has been installed in compliance with the plans. Commissioner Urice also requested, and if it pleases the commission, to add an additional condition, and I believe this would be a general condition, probably in number 2 after the
What page you under?
page 2. Right now, number 2 is the applicant shall file the grant of special exception. I would add this condition as a general condition before that, prior to permits. All equipment, this is what Joel requested, all equipment shall be stored in a retracted position, meaning that if there are any lifts, that they not be stored
I think the public hearing, they're not gonna have anything like that. This isn't Air Bar over in Kenosha.
Correct. But again,
If they should expand into that or something?
well, if they expanded and changed that tonnage to include that type of equipment, they would certainly have to come back to the planning commission. Again, I'm not quite sure what type of equipment would, within that tonnage restriction, be in a an extended position.
Right?
No.
Scissor lift or
Oh,
something
right,
like
yeah,
that.
Yeah. Something, I think his concern was the restaurant next door being able to see, because it is in the back, and generally you're not going to see it. However,
He did bring it up, it's in the minutes, he's bringing it up.
yeah, if it is in an extended position, will it go above that fence line?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I thought they were pretty clear that everything was gonna stay, whether it was a technical term or not, within the fence line.
Right.
Both being, I guess, height and width, so I assume that 7 or 8 foot, however tall the fence is,
6 feet.
that was their plan, that everything would stay within the fence line.
I guess, if they suddenly decided to go in the direction of cranes, and if, we give a condition that they have to be in the retracted position, I don't know how you work that in.
I can work it in. Again, it can be a general condition. It would certainly give us a little bit more teeth if we had that condition for Air Bar on Kenosha. They wouldn't be extending, 6 stories in the air with the lift, with the ball hanging from it. I know that's not their intention, and the tonnage wouldn't allow that type of equipment. But again, I don't know what that tonnage would allow. So it can be worked in as a general condition. If, say, they sell if they leave and another business comes, this is where it becomes an issue. If another business comes in, they wouldn't come back to the planning commission, and they could change the type of equipment they sell. So it can certainly change. Once you approve a use, you approve a use, and you're approving outdoor storage. It doesn't go with the business, it goes with the property. So it adds a little bit more protection to that rear area and to the adjacent properties. So I can work it in and basically say all equipment shall be stored in a retracted position.
Yeah.
Not the most eloquent, but I can work on that.
Okay. So what are you proposing, Jen? Should we just approve your approval as submitted and conditions with that, or should we?
Yeah, as amended, and I can add is insert a number 2 under and be it further resolved, the conditions of said approval are as follows. Number 1 is the project shall be developed in accordance with the map. Number 2 would be that condition, all equipment shall be stored in a retracted position. And then all the other numbers change after that. It's just a general condition, that's all. Gives us a little bit more teeth. If we see something out there that is becoming a nuisance, we can say, well, you're in violation of your approval.
Okay, we've received a draft resolution of approval. Commission members, you've had a chance to take a look at it. Jennifer will be amending her own resolution and inserting wording about preventing aerial type equipment from being displayed fully extended. I don't know how you're going to do that, but
I'm not
apparently
sure.
I think it should be okay with the applicant because you don't really have anything.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to verify, because I'm not seeing it in here, that we are having all the equipment below the 6-foot fence. Because that's kind of the same thing.
It's not specifically noted. We require the fence. I don't recall them saying that all the equipment would be below the fence line.
I thought
No.
within the fence line.
Yeah.
Within, certainly within,
Yeah.
but not below. I believe it will restrict a good portion of what's back there. It's a 6-foot-high fence. But they could theoretically have something taller. That was not a restriction that I recall. But I could be mistaken.
Anything else for Jennifer? I'll entertain a motion to approve the draft resolution of approval, subject to the amendment discussed. Motion made, by your second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This draft resolution of approval is approved. You're all set, gentlemen. Have a good evening. Let's see here. Simcog Properties, Inc.
Yes.
Application for floodplain permit for a field sports arena, Shelter Rock Lane, L15001, special section 709. I don't have the petition.
Yes, you do.
Here it is. Commission members, hopefully you've received the draft. No,
Yes.
Yeah.
the floodplain permit. Application. Yeah, here it is. The draft resolution dated June 6, 2012. Go ahead, Jen.
Mr. Chairman, this has been a long time coming. The commission approved this is the sports dome that the commission approved
A long
last
time
year.
ago.
Last year.
Oh, it was last year.
Yep. May 18th, actually, 2011. The reason we didn't do the floodplain permit right after that is because it took the engineering department some time to work out some issues. Sorry, it took the applicant's engineer time to work out the outstanding engineering issues. And as you know, we don't do floodplain permit until everybody's signed off. That way we know the maps aren't changing. So that took until, I want to say February-ish. And then they came back in for minor revisions that involved little bump outs for the pads. They changed the emergency access. They changed some of the drainage. So then we needed another sign off from the engineering department. Once we had that in place, it allowed the department to come back with the floodplain permit. Okay, just a brief history. So the property is located in what we call a numbered AE floodplain. It's at the Simpog Brook, I'm sorry.
No, that was quick. Hold on, I gotta look at it.
Do you guys have a map? Would that help?
I think we all know pretty much where it is. It wasn't that long ago that we approved this guy.
Okay. The rear of the property, and it actually, I'm not quite sure where it meanders across the street, but it goes underneath the culvert, and the brook comes, it kind of kitty corners the site, and then kind of goes down towards Bethel. There are portions of the property that are within the floodway, but they are not doing any work in the designated limits of the floodway. They are doing work in the floodplain. The established base flood elevation is 356, okay? The first floor elevation of the actual air structure is 363, so they're at least 7 feet above the base flood. So we're fine with the location, and actually the building itself is outside of the floodplain. In addition, the plan shows that the exits have ground leading to ground above the base flood. So the real meat of it is what they're doing towards the brook. And they're actually constructing a detention basin towards the rear of the property. That's where all the water's going, from the building and the parking lot. Within those limits, because we're only looking at the area that is at or below the elevation 356. And that actually encompasses about 1,125 cubic yards of available floodplain storage, okay? Because we're not going to look at any other area. It's just that area within the basin that they're doing the work that is at or below 356. Bless you. So based on the cutting, they're only doing nominal filling up near the parking lot. When I say nominal, it's very minute. It's just to kind of feather off some grading. They're actually cutting quite a bit to get that basin in there. And that cutting provides approximately 4,398 cubic yards of storage. So when you take the 1,100 that's available now, the 4,300 they're creating, the net, because you can't double dip, you can't count something that's already there, results in an increase in storage of 3,273 cubic yards of storage, which is a good thing. As you remember, we amended the regulations 2 years ago that said if you're filling, you have to compensate. In this case, they're not doing any filling, but they are doing cutting, so they're actually creating additional storage. Okay? The engineering department, as I mentioned earlier, has reviewed and approve the proposed grading and drainage improvements. Based off of the provisions of 7A5C and 7A7, they comply. And the only additional conditions I've added, requiring an elevation certificate for the structure, just so we know that it is above the base flood. And the applicant's engineer has to provide in writing to us that the site and the associated grading was constructed pursuant to the approved plans. That way they can't make any changes and all of a sudden we no longer have that 3,300 cubic yards of storage. Just want to make sure all the numbers work still. So that's about it. I can pull the plans if you want a better idea of what they're proposing to do.
I'm okay with it, and unless anyone else wants to look at the actual plans. I think your report's pretty straightforward, Ken.
No, this is actually
Let's take a quick look.
quick look. Only because I have the map.
That's right, it's right there.
Put on the big screen.
Pretty little to find that for me. Right now, this is the existing storage area that I talked about. The 1,000 cubic yards. You
There it
can
is.
see the brook at the bottom.
Yep.
It's the back, is that the back of the property?
Yes, it is. It's the part that floods. There's the structure. You can see down here, this is where the basin is.
Yeah,
The storage is right down here, and this is where you're getting that additional storage.
double or triple or something.
Yeah, a bit. So,
Makes it more, the picture tells 1,000 words.
yes, it does.
Okay, commission members, again, this is an application for a floodplain permit. We've reviewed the staff report dated June 6th. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve this application for a floodplain permit for indoor field sports arena Shelter Rock Lane. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll try your minds. All in favor of approval, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, this floodplain permit is approved. Now, we have two other floodplain permits, which, commission members, as you may recall, we moved up from new business to items 3 and 4 under our old business agenda, because Jennifer was able to take one, which was good. Which one do you, I'm sorry, no, we'll do, yeah, City of Danbury, Department of Public Buildings, application for floodplain permit for tank system replacement at Danbury Municipal Airport, Woodland Road, G18001, and Jennifer, fire away.
Mr. Chairman, I fired this out this afternoon because we didn't actually get the application until Monday. I did the approvals yesterday. All this is, right now, out at the airport, they have an underground 1,000-gallon diesel tank. I believe per DEP regulations, we're not allowed to have the underground tanks anymore. They have to be above ground. We found during the permit review that they're actually in the floodplain and the wetlands. So we scrambled to get these approved so they can continue installing these tanks. So the one for the airport, I'll show you a map. You didn't have the benefit of approving this. This is out, if you're going out to the maintenance building off of Wibbling. The office is right here, the tank is going right here, and it's a dispenser as well. Okay, the brook is right here, the Kissin Brook.
Big fence. The
Hmm?
fence, the percentage fence.
There it, yes, it's all fenced through. So,
You all remember the Kissing Brook from me, Marcus.
Right.
yes. I found memories of the Kissin Brook.
Kiss and Brook.
Yes, no puddles, just.
Right. It's only a
I
puddle,
learned
it's not
more
a brook.
history that night than I did.
There you go, Phil, there you go.
It's only a puddle, it's not a brook.
That's right. So,
Depends who
the
you're talking.
floodplain regulations are very specific with respect to above ground tanks. There's a couple things. We say that the pad has to be installed above the base flood elevation, okay? If it's not, then it has to be, the tank has to be securely anchored to the pad to prevent the potential for flotation or lateral movement. We don't want it to up and Well, given the size, it's not gonna, they're not going anywhere. But for the purposes of satisfying the regulations, also the top of the fill pipe has to be installed above the base flood, and there has to be a screw fill cap to prevent infiltration of floodwaters. So working with the engineer, because in fact this this diesel tank is below the base flood. If you all recall from anything we've done in the Kenosha area, it's an unnumbered A zone, which means we don't have any flood information. We have established flood elevations of 455.4. They've actually installed the pad at 455, so it's slightly below the base flood. What they've done is provided a documentation that they are in fact anchoring these. The regulations call for strap downs, but I've talked to the building department. They're satisfied with the bolts. They're actually much more effective. They won't rust. They're embedded into that concrete, whereas the strap is on top. And they've showed evidence that there's a screw cap that's above, that the fill pipe, the top of the fill pipe is above the base flood, and that there is, in fact, a screw cap to prevent the infiltration of floodwaters. So based off of that, they comply with the regulations with respect to 7A5C. The only additional conditions are the standard ones. I want an elevation certificate, and then a letter certifying that it was installed pursuant to the approved plans. That's it.
Did I, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Phil.
did I miss what type of safety precaution do they take on if that tank leaks in a floodplain type thing like that?
They have to be what they call diked, I believe. Wait a minute, this is diesel fuel. Yeah, I think that to get a permit for something like this you've got a diking, like it's almost like a little concrete fence. So if the whole thing dumps out, the concrete around it has to be able to hold like 110% of the capacity of the tank.
Okay, like a 2 foot or 3 foot
Yeah,
high
something like that.
knee wall type thing?
Yes. Yeah, you see it.
I didn't just think that you would have to,
We have one out of Public Works, and this is what it'll look like. I can't speak to whether there's a dike around it or not. I don't know. But these are.
Those poles there, so you can't. Obviously, you can't.
no, I understand that, sure.
Yeah, there's bollards if you see around. There are, what's in the fenced area? I don't think it's diked, Phil, because this is all flat through here, 454.
Or maybe it's a double wall tank or something?
It could be.
No, I'm just saying, you would think that would be if somebody was gonna put something like that right in a floodplain where there was a foot of water all of a sudden and this thing springs a leak, hello?
I don't know that they knew it was in a floodplain until we told them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll
Now they know, so we gotta fix
obviously.
it.
Another added protection is the shut-off mechanism is inside the building. And that shut-off valve, they gave me the elevation for that, and that is in fact above, they told me, hold on. It's in my report. And the fill pipe will be at an elevation 458, and they said, their floodplain permit.
I'm sure they got their safety precautions taken, just, like I said.
The emergency shut-off switch, which is installed on the exterior wall of the maintenance building, will be at an approximate elevation of 458. So it's at least 3 feet above what we know as the elevation that it floods
Is it
at.
outside?
Outside, exterior.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought inside, it's exterior. So I can't speak to whether the construction of it, but it's a 1,000-gallon diesel tank. I have to assume it's built to proper standards that would prevent it from leaking. That's a liability of the city.
Okay, anything else for Jennifer? Commission members? Again, this is an application for a floodplain permit. We've had an opportunity to review the staff report of June 6th and Jennifer's presentation. Any further discussion on this matter? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion to approve, do I hear a second? Second. Come on, guys, I'll have 3 of you here. Motion to approve has been made and seconded for the floodplain permit for City of Danbury Municipal Airport fuel tank replacement. Any further discussion? Hearing none, try your minds. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, this floodplain permit is approved, and we'll move right on to the last one, Jen. City of Danbury Department of Public Buildings, application for floodplain permit for tank system replacement at Fire Department Headquarters, 19 New Street, I-14053, SP 6821, and again, we have another report dated June 6th. Fire away, Jen.
Mr. Chairman, this one is out at headquarters on New Street, or down the street. This one right now is underground as well, and it's actually right on the fence line where the Jehovah's are building their church right now.
Did you see it?
Yes, I know. Next to the beautiful fence they installed. It's a nice looking fence. I think it's a cedar fence. On the other side of that fence is where they have all the tanks, right through here. The Blind Brook, the culvert goes under this, it goes under, and then it opens back up right behind the fire department, okay? So, the actual floodplain is through here, okay? It's at an elevation, what did I say, 396, okay? It's a little quirky through here, but generally this is the approximate line of the floodplain, okay? So we know everything from this point to the brook is floodplain. So the tank's in the floodplain. And we know the elevation to be 396. We have information on that. That's the known elevation. Again, I won't reiterate the same conditions that I talked about for the airport apply to this tank as well. The only difference is that the pad for the tank is at 399.5 elevation, which is 3 feet above the base flood. We don't necessarily have to worry about the same precautions with the airport, but those same precautions are on this tank as well. Okay? And the standard conditions apply. That's about it.
Anything else for Jennifer on this particular floodplain permit, committee members? Hearing no further discussion, we'll entertain a motion to approve the floodplain permit for the fire department headquarters. I think it's your
I'll
turn.
make them up.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll try your minds. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, this floodplain permit is approved. Other matters for review and possible action. One, letter from Attorney Paul Jaber requesting 90-day extension of filing of Mylar for geography subdivision, sub 1102, approved 3712. Jen.
Mr. Chairman, yesterday, we received a request from Attorney Jaber. Their 90 days is up tomorrow, so they squeaked that one right in. If you recall, we had a condition in there that said that prior to the commission signing the map, they had to remove the pool because the pool violated zoning regulations. That pool has not been removed yet, so they are requesting. What?
Nothing.
What's the matter?
You can't laugh till after the meeting is over.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thanks for ruining my.
Oh, you're still flowing good.
All right.
Well, we have to remove.
The pool hasn't been removed, so the applicant has requested that extension to allow the property owner the additional time they need to remove that pool, get the Mylar revised to show that as removed, so the commission can sign that Mylar.
It's okay with me.
Me too.
Anyone else have any? Since Attorney Jaber is sitting there so patiently, wouldn't it be a shame? Fine.
Come on, somebody
Give it to
remove.
me, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to
We're at the 90 day.
grant the 90-day extension to the filing of the Mylar. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This extension is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
Mr.
just wanted to back on the, because I want to make sure that, I don't know if it matters on the record, that I did not vote a negative referral on the Triangle Street.
You didn't vote?
No.
Okay, let the record show that Mr. Singer abstained.
Okay.
Matter of
Put
Triangle
that down
Street.
right now before I forget.
Just want to make sure.
He abstained. Let the record show that. Anything else? Motion to adjourn, anyone?
I'll make
Motion
that.
to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?